Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Monday night Motivation.net webinar. It's great to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Let's give it a minute while people log on in. Go ahead and put your name and where you're logging in from in the chat window. It'd be awesome. Do a little roll call action, and then we'll get started. And give people a minute to get in the room. And for those of you that have not been in previous weeks, we're in the middle of going through the Master Key System, which was written in 1916. And it's a great book. It was like one of those foundational books of personal development. And we are on, I believe, chapter, ooh, that's a good question. In fact, oh, I got my chapter marked right here with my dog, picture of the puppy. And we are on chapter 9, I believe, part 9. All right, let's see what we got going. Check the chat window. There's a little chat delay. Ron from New Jersey, welcome, Ron. Good to have you. Joy from Missouri, welcome. Christine from Boston, great to have you. Scott, Golden, Colorado, great to have you, as always. And, alrighty. So, let's get rolling. I'm going to start by reading the, sometimes these introductions are like so good. So the first part is like just this is the quick one paragraph summary. Each one of these chapters has a one paragraph summary, then it has an introduction, and then the body of the actual chapter. So I'll start by reading the summary, and it says part 9. This part tells of the fundamental principle, the imperative condition, the immutable law underlying every successful business relation or social condition. It tells of the law by which you make yourself irresistible, by which you may sweep away every form of discord, inharmony, and doubt. Oh, that sounds good. How many of you can use a little of that tonight, where you sweep away every what does it say? Every form of discord, inharmony, or doubt. That's pretty awesome. I like that. Does anybody need that tonight? Anybody in the market for some removal of all discord? Sounds pretty cool. It tells the secret of the solution to every problem. It explains that there are only 3 things which all mankind requires for complete happiness and development. It tells what they are and how they may be had. So that's the summary of this chapter. Based on that summary, who wants to keep moving? Do you guys want to do this tonight? Because we can just like cancel it if you want. And then Mike's in. Hi, Mike, Grace, Anil, Jack, Christine, Ron, Anise. Welcome, welcome. Didn't want to miss you guys. All right, so I'm assuming that it's a yes. We're going to keep moving. Introduction. In this part, you may learn to fashion the tools by which you may build for yourself any condition you desire. I love that. If you wish to change conditions, you must change yourself. Your whims, your wishes, your fancies, your ambitions may be thwarted at every step, but your inmost thoughts will find expression just as certainly as the plant springs from the seed. And then this is interesting. I love this in this second paragraph. It says, if you wish to change your conditions, you must change yourself. And what happens a lot, and I know I've been guilty of this at times, is I'll speak for myself because it's, I experience this. I don't like my circumstances, so the easy thing to do is to blame my circumstances, which is totally contrary to everything that we've gone over in this book. But we're human people. We're human beings. So it's going to happen, and the key, I think, is when you find yourself justifying, blaming, or any of that side of things, you got to remember, if you wish to change the conditions, you must change yourself. So it's not up to somebody else, it's up to us, okay? It goes on to say, suppose then we desire to change conditions. How are we to bring this about? The reply is simple, by law of growth. Cause and effect are absolute and undeviating in the hidden realm of thought, as in the world of material things. Okay, that's really cool. Hold in mind the conditioned desire. Affirm it as an already existing fact. This indicates the value of a powerful affirmation. By constant repetition, it becomes part of ourselves. We're actually changing ourselves. We're making ourselves what we want to be. So that's kind of the ethereal version of what that is. But let me kind of give you another version of that, the more scientific, okay, the biological, okay, because there's biology involved. What happens is and it's funny because we went to the doctor today. I won't talk about it. It was Dina is having some issues with her neck, and the doctor was explaining the process of the how the brain works, how the channel of communication works in the brain through the neck to the rest of the body. And all of this is caused by neural pathways called dendrites. Okay, they're neural pathways. So what happens is these electrical impulses are started in our brain and it goes through our body. Well, what happens when you do what this book says, hold in mind the conditioned desire. Affirm it as an already existing fact. What you're doing is you're tricking your brain, basically you're tricking it into creating new dendrites, new neural pathways that have recognition to the thing that you want. Once you have recognition to the thing that you want, you'll then be aware of opportunity to make that thing happen. So it doesn't get created from nothing. You decide what you want, you write it down, you read it all the time. What you're doing through the process of repetition is creating new neural pathways, new cells of recognition. It's biological. It's not just like come up with a goal and read it because it's a cool thing to do. There's actual biology involved. Does that help anybody knowing the science behind why that works? And then what happens is you know, there might be a thing that you see, there might be a person that you meet, and instead of just, you know, dismissing it as whatever, maybe because of the cells of recognition are different, you understand something that's different, and because of that, you're able to interact differently and help create a solution to maybe an obstacle or towards some sort of step towards getting you what you want. Okay? So that's the biology behind why this works. It's not just like, you know, airy-fairy, you know, you think it, you wish it, and it happens. No, there's actual biology involved. Okay? And Mike says, yes, science is good. So I like that Mike likes science. That's good. Anyway, it's all good stuff. Hold on one second. And so, does that make sense? Oh, this is good. Character is not a thing of chance, but it is the result of continued effort. If you are timid, vacillating, self-conscious, or if you're over-anxious or harassed by thoughts of fear or impending danger, remember that it is axiomatic that two things cannot exist in the same place at the same time. Exactly the same is true in the mental and spiritual world, so that your remedy is plainly to substitute thoughts of courage, power, self-reliance, confidence for those of fear, lack, and limitation. Okay, so here's what I want you to do really quick. This is super good. Two things cannot exist in the same place at the same time. So what I'd like you to do is think of 2 or 3 characteristics that hold you back. Okay? Do you have any, are you over anxious? Do you have any fear of impending danger? Do you have any timidity, vacillating, self-conscious? Do you, like, are there any character traits about you that are preventing you from getting what you want? If there are, then what I want you to do is I want you to identify them. And then the remedy to that is what they're saying is to substitute a thought that is the opposite of that. So if you have fear, substitute the word courage. And what it's saying is those two things can't exist in the same space. And Mike, you're absolutely right. We did this in Hawaii Reboot. Yes, 100%. Like faith and fear can't exist in the same space. You can't be in both. There's no, this isn't 50-50, this isn't 90-10, this isn't 75-25. It's 100-0 or 0-100. Faith and fear can't exist in the same space. Okay, sorry, this fly is flying around and bugging me. So think if there's something there that you need to work on from a character standpoint, and then think of what the opposite is. Then maybe create an affirmation around that and start sinking that into your subconscious mind. Start creating some new dendrites or some new neural pathways around that. Okay, it goes on to say the easiest and most natural way to do this is to select an affirmation. See, I haven't even read this chapter before, and I'm already on it. I said create an affirmation. Let's just see how accurate I was. Sorry, I got to pat myself on the back every once in a while. If you ask my wife, she says I pat myself on the back too much. So anyway, the easiest and most natural way to do this is to select an affirmation which seems to fit your particular case. The positive thought will destroy the negative as certainly as light destroys darkness, and the results will be just as effectual. Okay? Act is the blossom of thought, and conditions are the result of action. So listen to that. Act is the blossom of thought, and conditions are the result of actions. Okay? So it's thought, actions, results. All right? So that you constantly have in your possession the tools by which you certainly and inevitably will make or unmake yourself, and joy or suffering will be the reward. That's super good. Oh my God, that's all the introduction. We haven't even gotten into the chapter. That was just the introduction right there, okay? So now we're getting into the actual chapter. God, the introduction was really good. I love the introductions. Like, the introductions are actually my favorite part of this whole book. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take all these introductions, I'm going to put them together into a PDF and give them to you guys. Do you like that? If I just string together all the introductions? Because if you took all the introductions, it would give you this entire book, and it would give it to you in a format that you could actually digest, like, quickly. I don't know if it would be enough. It would be too much that you couldn't. It'd be interesting to read the introductions of this, because here's what I'm going to do. Oh, this is a painful commitment, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm choosing to do this. I just made it up in my head. I'm going to get all the introductions. I'm going to put them together. I'm going to put them into a PDF. I'm going to read the introductions of this book every day for 90 days and see what happens. Does anybody want to do it with me? Or am I the only idiot here? Now I got to replace that thought. I am not an idiot. I am a smart person. All right. So if you want me to send out the introductions, put the word introduction. Okay, Mike's in. I think it's going to be cool. It'd be it'd be interesting on this is to do a study. Like, we could be lab rats, right? If the group of us did this every day for 90 days, it'd be really interesting to do this every day for 90 days. And we take some measuring points, okay? And we measure out, okay, fitness, what else? Fitness, relationships, money, and spiritual. And just take a quick barometer, a quick, like, where are we at? And take those 4 areas and give ourselves a score based on a criteria. Now, money, why I love money goals is money is very tangible. When it comes to spiritual things or relationships, it's not as tangible. When it comes to fitness, fitness is very tangible too. Like, you can measure your body fat percentage, you know what your weight is. So there's some things around that. It'd be interesting to set a goal for 90 days in those 4 areas. Read this every day for 90 days, the introductions only, because the introductions are I'm not kidding. Like, I get more out of the introductions than the body of the chapter. Sometimes the chapter goes like too deep. Okay. Mike, don't give Scott peer pressure. Okay. This is a choose in, choose out thing. And it would be, so here's the idea is, if we all do this and you actually do it and I actually do it, it'd be interesting to come up with like our own little white paper study of this is what we did over the course of 90 days. Of course, then after that, if it worked really well, I'd turn that into an advertising campaign and a lead magnet. The lead magnet would be this thing. The result would be our results, like get this and this and this. You know, for example, Ron, who I believe is 79 years old, went from bench pressing 110 pounds to bench pressing 567 pounds. So, and Adiba, yes, I'll send them. Adiba, you can watch the recording. So Adiba, when you go back and watch the recording of this, just watch the first, whatever, 15 minutes, and you'll be caught up. All right, so let's get into chapter 9. I want to do that, okay? I don't know why I thought of that, but it came to me in a very strong fashion, so I'm in for that. So here's your homework for this week. Your homework for this week is to measure your results in those 4 areas, okay? So the areas are your physical, relationships. Number 3 is money. And number 4 is spiritual. And then what you may want to do if you're married is maybe have your partner score you from 1 to 10, or maybe it's 1 to 100 or whatever. Maybe have them score you maybe score the top relationships in your life. Maybe take 5 different relationships that are important to you and have them score you at the beginning of the 90 days, 1 through 10, and at the end of the 90 days, 1 through 10, so you can establish growth. Okay, those are called key performance indicators. When you establish a criteria for measuring something, and then measure it again. Okay, so we'll call it KPIs, key performance indicators. We don't call it that, that's what they are. All right, let's keep moving. Part 9, we're getting into the body now of the chapter. So far, the introduction was fantastic. I liked it. There are only 3 things which can possibly be desired in the world without. Okay, now for those of you that are new and haven't been through the series, the world within is what's inside of us. The world without is everything that's outside of us. Okay, so you're up to speed. There are only 3 things which can possibly be desired in the world without, and each of them can be found in the world within. The secret of finding them is simply to apply the proper mechanism of attachment to the omnipotent power to which each individual has access. The 3 things which all mankind desires and which are necessary for his highest expression and complete development are health, wealth, and love. Okay, let's simplify it. Health, wealth, and love. We're going to follow this chapter on this little 90-day deal. Rate yourself in health, wealth, and love. Okay? We're only going to do 3 things. And if you want to do spiritual, go for it. Do that. But we'll do health, wealth, and love. Okay? We're following the chapter. All will admit that health is absolutely essential. No one can be happy if the physical body is in pain. All will not so readily admit that wealth is necessary, but all must admit that a sufficient supply at least is necessary. And what would be considered sufficient for one would be considered an absolute painful lack for another. And as nature provides not only enough, but abundantly, wastefully, lavishly, we realize that any lack or limitation is the only limitation which has been made by the artificial method of distribution. All will probably admit that love is third, or some will say first, essential, necessary to the happiness of mankind. At any rate, those who possess all 3, health, wealth, and love, find nothing else which can be added to their cup of happiness. I like that. Do you guys like that? We have found that universal substance is all health, all substance, all love. And that mechanism of attachment whereby we can consciously connect with this infinite supply is in our method of thinking. To think correctly is therefore to enter the secret place of the Most High. What shall we think? If we know this, we shall have found the proper mechanism of attachment which will relate us to whatever things we desire. This mechanism may seem very simple when I give it to you, but read on. You will find that it is in reality the master key, or the Aladdin's lamp, if you please. Okay, let me read this over. My mind went on a thought trip and I stopped paying attention because I started thinking about something else. So let me read this again, because this is talking about the master key, which the whole book is called the Master Key System. So I think what it's doing is it's talking about like the whole key to this book. So let me read this paragraph again and let me check in. And if you're like me and you're on a thought trip or distracted, let's focus, because this looks good. So what shall we think? If we know this, we shall have found the proper mechanism of attachment, which will relate us to whatsoever things we desire. The mechanism may seem very simple when I give it to you, but read on. You will find that it is in reality the master key, the Aladdin's lamp, if you please. You will find that it is the foundation, the imperative condition, the absolute law of well-doing, which means well-being. To think correctly, accurately, we must know the truth. The truth, then, is the underlying principle in every business or social relation. It is the condition precedent to every right action. To know the truth, to be sure, to be confident, affords a satisfaction beside which no other is at all comparable. It is the only solid ground in a world of doubt, conflict, and anger. To know the truth is to be in harmony with the infinite and omnipotent power. To know the truth is therefore to connect yourself with a power which is irresistible and which will sweep away every kind of discord, inharmony, doubt, or error, because the truth is mighty and will prevail. The humblest intellect can readily foretell the result of any action when he knows that it is based on the truth. But the mightiest intellect, the most profound and penetrating mind, loses its way hopelessly and can form no conception of results which may ensue when his hopes are based on the premise which he knows to be false. Every action which is not in harmony with truth, whether through ignorance or design, will result in discord, an eventual loss in proportion to its extent and character. How then are we to know the truth in order to attach this mechanism which will relate us to the infinite? We can make no mistake about this if we realize the truth is a vital principle of the universal mind and is omnipresent. For instance, if you require health, the realization of the fact that I, in you, is spiritual, and that the spirit is one, that wherever a part is the whole will bring about a condition of health, because every cell in the body must manifest the truth as you see it. If you see sickness, they will manifest sickness. If you see perfection, they will manifest perfection. The affirmation, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy will bring about harmonious conditions. I'm going to write that in the chat window, okay? This is really cool. So here is the affirmation that they put. I'm going to type it up and put it in the chat window real quick. I am whole, perfect. I like this one. Perfect, strong, powerful, loving, let me get a comment there, harmonious, and happy. I am whole, perfect, strong, loving, harmonious, and happy. Okay? I like that. Anybody else like that? Or is it just me? So the affirmation, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy, will bring about the harmonious conditions. The reason for this is because the affirmation is in strict accordance with the truth, and when the truth appears, every form of error or discord must necessarily disappear. You have found that the I is spiritual. It must necessarily then always be less than perfect. The affirmation, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy, is therefore an exact scientific statement. It is therefore an exact scientific statement. That's really cool. Do you guys like that? Do you like that, that affirmation? Thought is a spiritual activity, and spirit is creative. Therefore, the result of holding this thought in mind must necessarily bring about conditions in harmony with the thought. If you require wealth, A realization of this fact that I, in you, is one with the universal mind, which is all substance and is omnipotent, will assist you in bringing into operation the law of attraction, which will bring you into the vibration with those forces which will make for success and bring about the conditions of power and affluence in the direct proportion with the character and purpose of your affirmation. Visualization is the mechanism of the attachment which you require. Visualization is a very different process from seeing. Seeing is physical and therefore related to the objective world. The world without, excuse me, I emphasize that improperly. Let me read that again. Visualization is a very different process from seeing. Seeing is physical and therefore related to the objective world, the world without. See, we see with our eyes, and what's funny about what we see is it's not really what we see. Like the weird thing, and I've talked about this before, is if you look at the science of sight, okay, if you look at what you see is a reflection of light on objects. And based on the wavelength of the reflection of the light on the objects determines what you actually see. So the different colors are just different wavelengths of light. And the way those wavelengths bounce off things is what you see. So you actually don't see the object itself, believe it or not. Like if you see a chair, you don't see the chair. What you see is the reflection of light off of the chair, and based on the wavelength of that reflection is what you actually see. So the eyes are a tuning device, okay? And they're programmed to pick up a certain variance or a certain wavelength range of light. That's Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. We learned that in school, right? Everybody's seen a rainbow. The rainbow is the spectrum of what we see in visible light. The visible light spectrum is that. But there's a whole bunch of things we don't see. So because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there, okay? Science has proven this. This isn't like advanced science either. This is kind of basic science, all right? So what they're saying here is visualization is a very different process from seeing. Seeing is physical and is therefore related to the objective world, the world without. That's your current circumstances. That's the things that you have in your life right now. But visualization is a product of the imagination and is therefore a product of the subjective mind, the world within. It therefore possesses vitality. It will grow. The thing visualized will manifest itself in form. The mechanism is perfect. It was created by the master architect who doeth all things well. But unfortunately, sometimes the operator is inexperienced or inefficient. But practice and determination will overcome this defect. So if you haven't been getting the things that you want, and you've tried visualization, but it hasn't worked, the solution is practice. It said practice and determination will overcome this defect. If you require love, try to realize that the only way to get love is by giving it. That the more you give, the more you will get. And the only way in which you can give it is to fill yourself with it until you become a magnet. The method was explained in another part. He who has learned to bring the greatest spiritual truths into touch with so-called lesser things of life has discovered the secret of the solution of his problems. One is always quickened, made more thoughtful by the nearness of approach to great ideas, great events, great natural objects, and great men. Lincoln is said to have begotten in all who came near him the feeling of awakened when someone approached a mountain. And this sense asserts itself most keenly when one comes to realize that he understands the things that are eternal, including the power of truth. It's really cool. It is sometimes an inspiration to hear from someone who's actually put these principles to the test. Someone who has demonstrated them in his own life. I am today a recipient of a letter of a Mr. Andrews. He said, "Dear friend, you will find my experience published in the March issue of Nautilus, and you are at liberty to make any extracts from or reference to it as it may suit your purpose. Sincerely yours, Frederick Andrews, Oddfellow Building, Indianapolis, Indiana. It says, I was 13 years old when Dr. T.W. Marseille, since passed over, said to my mother, there is no possible chance, Mrs. Andrews. I lost a little boy the same way after doing everything for him that it was possible to do. I have made a special study of these cases. I know there is no possible chance for him to get well. She turned to him and said, Doctor, would you do that if it were your boy? And he answered, I would fight. I would fight as long as there is breath of life to fight for. That was the beginning of a long drawn-out battle with many ups and downs, the doctors all agreeing that there was no chance for a cure, though they encouraged and cheered us the best they could. But at last victory came, and I have grown from a little crooked, twisted cripple going about on my hands and knees to a strong, straight, well-formed man. Now I want you to know the formula, and I will give it to you as briefly as I can. I built up an affirmation for myself, taking the qualities I most needed and affirming for myself over and over again. I am perfect. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I kept this affirmation always the same, never varying, till I could wake up in the night and find myself repeating, I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. It was the last thing on my lips at night and the first thing in the morning. Not only did I affirm it for myself, but for others that I knew needed it. I want to emphasize this point. Whatever you desire for yourself, affirm it for others. Whatever you desire for yourself, affirm it for others. It's really good. And it will help you both. We reap what we sow. If we send out thoughts of love and health, they return to us like bread cast upon the waters. But if we send out thoughts of fear, worry, jealousy, anger, hate, etc., we will reap the results in our own lives. It is used to be said that man is completely anew, built, let me say that again because I know what they're going to say, and this is really good and important. Let me read it again because I screwed up. It used to be said that a man is completely anew every 7 years. But some scientists now declare that we build ourselves entirely over again every 11 months. So we're really only 11 months old. If we build the defects back into our bodies year after year, we have no one to blame but ourselves. Isn't that crazy? And then Anil, who's on here, is like super duper smart as it relates to this thing. He could probably tell us why this is true, but the human body has regeneration. And it's constantly regenerating cells, getting rid of old cells and building new cells. Isn't it crazy that every cell in our body has reformed over time? And according to this, every 11 months, we're a brand new person. For sure, every 7 years, every cell in our body has completely replaced itself, basically. It's pretty wild, isn't it? Man is the sum of his own thoughts. So the question is, how are we going to entertain only good thoughts and reject the evil ones? At first, we can't keep the evil thoughts from coming, but we can keep that from entertaining them. The only way to do this is to forget them, which means get something for them. This is where ready-made affirmations come in. When a thought of anger, jealousy, fear, or worry creeps in, just start your affirmation going. The way to fight darkness is light. The only way to fight cold is heat. The way to overcome evil is with good. For myself, I could never find any help in denials. Affirm the good and the bad will vanish. Frederick Andrews. So all that was from Frederick Andrews. If there's anything you require, it will be well for you to make use of this affirmation. It cannot be improved upon. I love that. That's so great. I love this. I don't know why I love this, but it says, it will be well for you to make use of this affirmation. It cannot be improved upon, so it's good as is. Use it just as it is. Take it into silence with you until it sinks into your subconsciousness. So I'm going to add to what we're doing with this 90-day of reading the introductions. I'm going to add this affirmation into the formula because the book is giving us the formula, right? So I want to follow the master keys. I want to follow the formula, right? For those of you that are in on the introductions, are you also in on doing this affirmation as is because it cannot be improved upon? It's perfect, according to the book. I love that. So are you also in on adopting this perfect affirmation? If yes, go ahead and put yes in the chat window. Use it just as it is. Take it into silence with you until it sinks into your subconscious so that you can use it anywhere, in your car, on the tram, in the office, at home. This is the advantage of spiritual methods. They are always available. Spirit is omnipresent, ever ready. All that is required is a proper recognition of its omnipotence and a willingness or desire to become the recipient of its beneficent effects. If our predominant mental attitude is one of power, courage, kindliness, and sympathy, we should find that our environment will reflect conditions in correspondence with these thoughts. If it is weak, critical, envious, and destructive, we shall find our environment reflecting conditions corresponding to these thoughts. Thoughts are causes, and conditions are effects. Herein is the explanation of the origin of both good and evil. Thought is creative and will automatically correlate with its object. This is a cosmological law. The law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, the recognition and application of this law will determine both beginning and end. It is the law by which in all ages and in all times the people were led to believe in the power of prayer. As thy faith is, so be unto thee, is simply a shorter, better way of saying it. So here's what's interesting. Let me read this part again. I'm going to go back 2 paragraphs, okay? It says, if our predominant mental attitude is one of power, courage, kindliness, and sympathy, we shall find that our environment will reflect the conditions. If it is weak, critical, envious, and destructive, we shall find our environment reflecting conditions corresponding to these thoughts. I want to ask you guys a question, okay? No judgment in this, okay? We're down to, and I know I'm dating this. I shouldn't say this because it's going to date the recording, so if I ever turn this into a program, it's dated now. But let's think about this, okay? There's 2 politicians that are probably running for president. Now, of those 2 people, I'm going to read 2 sets of words. And you tell me which sets of words resonate with these candidates, okay? Forget about parties, forget about like left and right. Let's talk about character, okay? Forget about who, like what they believe in, forget about the issues. We're just talking about character, okay? I'm gonna read 2 sets of words out of this book, and you tell me which one you feel most resembles the candidates that are basically the 2 that are gonna run for office for president. First one is power, courage, kindliness, and sympathy. That's the first set. The second set is weak, critical, envious, and destructive. So do you think they represent the first or the second? And you can split them up if you want. What do you guys think? I'm just curious. I know this is like a random thought, but I might make a point with this, but you know, break that down. And I want your honest feedback. Okay, don't tell me what you think I want to hear. What I want is the truth. Okay, for you, it's your truth, not my truth. It's your truth. Because I have my own perception, my own set of glasses of how I see the world, and no 2 people see the world the same way. So I really want your opinion and your honest one. Okay, so go ahead and put that in the chat window. Interesting. I like how Sonata formatted it too. That's really cool. I like how you did that. Okay, do it like Sonata did. All right, let me keep reading and then we'll come back to this. Your next exercise is to visualize a plant. Take a flower, the one you most admire. Bring it from the unseen into the seen. Plant the tiny seed, water it, care for it. Place it where it will get the direct rays of the morning sun. See the seed burst. It is now a living thing, something which is alive, beginning to search for means of substance. See the roots penetrating the earth. Watch them shoot out in all directions. And remember that they are living cells dividing and subdividing. And they will soon number millions. That each cell is intelligent, that it knows what it wants and knows how to get it. See the stem shoot upward and forward. Watch it burst through the surface of the earth. See it divide and form branches. See how perfect, symmetrical each branch is formed. See the leaves begin to form, and then the tiny stems, each one holding aloft a bud. And as you watch, you see the bud begin to unfold, and your favorite flower comes into view. And now, if you will concentrate intently, you will become conscious of a fragrance. It is the fragrance of the flower, as the breeze gently sways in the beautiful creation which you have visualized. All right. I really should have had you close your eyes for that one. It's really cool. But what they did there was they basically went through a visualization exercise. It goes on to say, when you are enabled to make your vision clear and complete, you will enable it to enter the spirit of a thing. It will become very real to you. You will be learning to concentrate, and process is the same, and the process is the same. Whether you are concentrating on health, a favorite flower, an ideal, or a complicated business proposition, or any other problem in life. Now, here's what I love about that. Here's the thing. Notice in that visualization how far they took it. It was a short visualization, yet there was some real detail in that visualization. So it's important when you're visualizing an end result that you do visualize the detail. You know, if what you want is a car, it isn't enough to say, gosh, I really want a car. What you want to do is visualize the type, the color, the interior, the features, like get into it. You know, one time I wanted a boat, and I wanted a boat super bad. And I was making good money, but I wasn't making like yacht money. Like I wanted a yacht. And I actually found the boat I wanted. I traveled to California just to see the boat, okay? I flew from Arizona to California. I made an appointment to get on this boat and have a salesperson show me the boat. I sat in the captain's chair. I visualized what it would be like to be on the ocean with this thing. And I went through the process. Now, here's what happened with me. My goal at that time, I had never created residual income before. All my income was transactional. Like Dina and I made good money, but we didn't make yacht money. And so what I did was I created an affirmation and said, I am so happy and grateful now that I have a Meridian 580 yacht. And I put a date on it. Now, the visualization of that thing was super detailed because I went and actually experienced the thing. And what happened is that I read that card every single time I touched my cell phone. And what happened is I touched my phone a lot, and I built those cells of recognition. And then a funny thing happened when I started doing calls and when I started doing activities. Every activity in my mind was bringing me closer to that boat. So when I didn't feel like doing something, when a call was coming in and I saw the caller ID, and I'd be like, I can put this off till tomorrow. I was like, no. This call's taken me one step closer to that boat. So what happened is my behavior changed as a result of the visualization and the attachment to the end result, the infatuation with the end result, the detail in the end result, the emotion that was attached to it. I started doing things differently because it wasn't just doing things, it was doing things that were bringing me to an end result that I was really excited about. Does that make sense to you guys? Does that help you? So if you have a problem with procrastination, you don't have a problem with procrastination. You have a problem with you don't know what you want, or you know what you want, but you're not doing a very good job of visualizing it and really getting attached to that outcome. Or the outcome that you want isn't enough to really get you that fired up. So when you're setting a goal, it's really important that you pick something that's like really, really nice, you know, for you. And then it's got to be really nice for you, not anybody else, you know? So like you could say like, oh, well, boat, that's superficial. And, you know, you could make up all kinds of stories about it. But for me, it wasn't. I love being on boats. I love being on nice boats. I love the ocean. There's a certain feeling I get when I'm on the ocean. It's different. I feel like a different person when I'm on the water. Have you guys ever felt that? Does anybody, is it just me? Have you ever been on a lake or an ocean where it's like that calm, peaceful sound of the water and you're just connected with it and it just feels really, really good? Well, that's how I feel when I'm on the ocean, whether I'm under it, scuba diving, or on top of it. I love the ocean. You know, there's something about it. It's healing to me. So it wasn't just like I want a yacht so I could be like a douche on a yacht who like, you know, rolls around and, you know, is one of these yacht idiots. It wasn't that. It was like there was a deeper purpose to it that wasn't like, it wasn't about somebody seeing me in my yacht. It wasn't about it was about sharing the experience though. I would have loved, you know, like the idea that I had, I visualized my friends hanging out with me in this yacht, you know, and Dina, and we're out on this yacht having a good time. And then the cool thing is one of the things that we've accomplished is we have 2 houses on the North Shore of Oahu, right on the ocean. My best times at our houses in Hawaii have been when we have friends there. You know, Mike, who's on the webinar, he's and Scott. They've been to our place in Hawaii a couple times, once with Hawaii Reboot, and then again with the reunion that we had there. And those are my favorite times, are when we get to share that thing that brings this thing that I love to others, and we share it together, you know? So Mike and Scott, did you enjoy coming to the place? Was it a good time? Anyway, so let me keep going. I got off track, but I started like daydreaming about my yacht. You know what, I should do that. I wonder if I should set the yacht goal again. Anyway, I'm going on a thought trip. I'm going to come back to Earth. We're almost done, okay? We're almost done. And then we're going to do a little quiz tonight just to see if you're paying attention. All right. When you are enabled to make your vision clear and complete, you will be enabled to enter into the spirit of a thing. It will become very real to you. You will be learning to concentrate, and the process is the same. Whether you're concentrating on health, a favorite flower, an ideal, a complicated business proposition, or any other problem of life. Every success has been accomplished by persistent concentration upon the object in view. In the end, thoughts rule the world. There are times when impulses and passions are more powerful, but they soon expand themselves, while mind acting constantly is ever ready to drive them back to work with energy, when their energy is exhausted. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. What I want you to do right now, okay, I want you to think about the big thing, the big goal that you want, okay? What is the thing that drives you? What is the thing that you want? Okay, I want you to think about it. I want you to visualize it. I want you to get into details, you know, whatever it is, whatever the thing is, whatever it is, it could be an object, it could be a relationship, it could be your health, it could be anything. What I want you to do is I want you to take just 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to visualize yourself with it, okay? And I want you to relax first. I should do the little quick relaxation cycle. Let's do that. We're going to do a quick relaxation, and then I'm going to get you into this, okay? So unless you're driving, if you're driving, don't do this. But if you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take deep breaths. Nice, big, deliberate, deep breaths. Now I want you to listen for a few different sounds. Really focus on a sound. Like right now I can hear the air conditioning unit. I can hear my computer. I can hear my own breath. Focus on each of these sounds individually and just totally relax. So now that you're totally relaxed, I want you to think about your goal. Think about the thing that you want. Just one thing. You want to stay focused on one goal, not a bunch of goals, just one thing. I want you to visualize that thing. See yourself with it in whatever fashion you can be. How does it feel? How does it smell? Experience all your senses. I want you to spend 2 or 3 minutes spending time with this, whatever it is. And if you start to wander a little bit, don't beat yourself up. Just come back. Come back to what it is that you want. All right, let's come back to the present. How do you feel right now? Do you feel any different? Did anything change inside of you from just 2 or 3 minutes ago? How do you feel right now? Just curious. What are you feeling right now? How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? Just curious if you have feedback on that. Wait for the chat delay. Scott said, now that felt good, real good. Yeah. So here's what happened. Okay, here's what happened. Here's the biology of what happened. Okay, you relaxed, you got focused on what it is that you want. You interacted with it, you went to another place. Now here's the secret to life. You can't create bad results when you feel good, and you can't create good results when you feel bad. So what you have now is a tool that you can use anytime to change the vibration that you're in. You can do that anytime. There wasn't much to it. Step 1, breathe. Step 2, you focus on the sounds, because focusing on the sounds calms your mind down. It can only think of one thing at a time. So as you focus on those sounds, those 2 or 3 different sounds, it automatically blocks the outside world out. You can't focus on 2 things at once. People that think they can multitask, they can't. It's not possible. And then you got into what it is that you really, really wanted. And because of that, your world, you are connected to the source of what you really desire, which relaxed you. The relaxation and calm comes from living in the space of what it is that you want instead of the space of what you don't want. So it's really powerful. So here's the thing. I know that it works, you know, and here's, I'll tell you this, guy, I had my visualization and I loved it. Like, I feel just as good as you do. I'm on a little visualization high myself, and I had all of you guys on my boat, just so you know. Each one of you, we were hanging out on the boat, and we were cruising, and we were actually in San Diego on Glorieta Bay, cruising the bay. It was calm and peaceful. It was nighttime, because I love the water at night. And we were all on the boat together, and it was really cool. And we were talking, and we were laughing, and we were having fun. So anyway, I need to make some cash so I can make that happen, so you guys can all hang out on my boat. Right here, you are all invited. I know who's here. I'm going to take the roll call of who's here tonight and watching this live, and every single one of you is invited to my inaugural sail on my new boat. I'm going to copy and paste the roll call here. Actually, I don't even have to. I can export the list out of this webinar software. Every single one of you is getting an invite. All right? And if you want in, I'd love to have you there. It'd be fun. And that would make the reality of the vision complete, because my visualization was the boat, the bay, nighttime, and you guys. Okay? So that's the end result. Can't wait. All right, so now we're going to go through a quick quiz. This is a quiz on Chapter 9. No prizes tonight. So here we go. First question. What is the imperative condition of well-being? What is the imperative condition of well-being? You know what the answer is? The answer is well-doing. Well-doing. Scott says, I'm bringing my fishing pole. Now here's what's really funny. The only confusion I had in my visualization, I was like, Meridian 580. I'm seeing myself in the Meridian 580, and then my mind went to, but a really nice fishing boat would be awesome too. So I had a little conflict on, what do I want? Do I want a Meridian 580, or do I want one of those really badass, like, live aboard fishing boats where you go fishing for, like, you know, marlin and tuna and all that kind of crazy stuff? So I gotta make a decision there on what kind of boat I really want, because I'm not sure. I've changed over the last, you know, however many years. All right, let's keep going. Well-doing was the answer. Okay, what is the imperative condition of well-being? It's well-doing. It's not enough to just sit there and think about it. You got to do something. You got to take action. Okay. Next is, what is the condition precedent to every right action? What is the condition precedent to every right action? What happens before every right action? Anybody got it? Yes, night dive, yes, Monique. 100% yes, we're diving. That's even better. I just got it. You just added to my visualization, Monique. I love diving. That would be awesome. Take the boat to a dive spot. Drop anchor, go down, do a dive, come up. All right, cool. The condition precedent to every right action, the answer is right thinking. Right thinking is the answer. Next question. What is the underlying condition necessary in every business transaction or social relation? What is the underlying condition necessary in every business transaction or social relation? The answer is to know the truth. Next question. What is the result of a knowledge of the truth? What is the result of the knowledge of the truth? And the answer is, we can readily foretell the result of any action that is based upon a true premise. Next question. What is the result of any action based upon a false premise? What is the result of any action based upon a false premise? And the answer is, we can form no conception of the results which may ensue. Next question. This is a good one. How do we know the truth? How do we know the truth? The answer, by a realization of the fact that the truth is the vital principle of the universe, and it is therefore omnipresent. Next question, what is the nature of truth? The answer is, it is spiritual. Next question, I'm going through these fast because we're out of time. What is the secret of the solution to every problem? What is the secret of solution to every problem? The answer, to apply spiritual truth. Two more questions. Next one is, what is the advantage of spiritual methods? What is the advantage of spiritual methods? And the answer is, they are always available. I just told you that what we just did is always available to you. Spiritual methods are always available to you, no matter where you are, no matter what the circumstances. And the last question is, what are the necessary requirements? And the answer is, a recognition of the omnipotence of spiritual power and a desire to become the recipient of its beneficent effects. Let me read that one more time. A recognition of the omnipotent spiritual power and a desire to become the recipient of its beneficent effects. Has anybody made a decision tonight that you want to become a recipient of the beneficent effects? I hope so. And then it ends with a quote, and this is the end of this is the last quote, and this is the end of the webinar. All right? Thought means life, since those who do not think do not live in any high or real sense. Thinking makes a man or a woman. Thank you guys so much for being on here tonight, and I look forward to having you on my boat. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. And I want you to get whatever it is that you want to get too. All right, so let's get some things or some stuff or some not stuff. Maybe it's health, maybe it's relationships. It's whatever you want it to be. I hope you get it. All right, good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. See you soon.